Happy Self Love Sunday. My name is Tarnisha Moe Sass. I am the host of Self Love Sunday with Sass. I am your vision strategist coach that comes every single Sunday so we can talk about all the ways in which we can better our best. And first and foremost, I want to thank all the new subscribers that have subscribed to my YouTube channel. I'm so appreciative of you. And I hope that you stick around and enjoy the content. And this prompted me, before I get into my topic of the day, to talk about, how I got here, right? Because you see me come every single Sunday and talk about all the ways in which we can better our best. But what started that journey for me? So I want to say this was about late 2017, maybe 2018. I decided to go on a healing journey. And it wasn't like I decided because my life was going so grand that, I just wanted to go on this healing journey. No, what happened was I was finding myself in relationships and in friendships that, just didn't sit right with me internally. However, I didn't really understand that that was a direct result of me. Like I didn't get it at the time. I didn't get that the relationships that were coming to my life, the people that were in my life were a direct relationship or in direct correlation to the decisions and thoughts of the things that I was choosing. And so what I didn't realize is that I was a people pleaser. And I was like, I kept hearing everybody talk about self love. Self love was like the big buzzword back then. However, the thing about buzzwords in that time was I realized that when people talked about what it looked like to love themselves, which is like have boundaries and, create visions for themselves and becoming the woman that they desire to be, I didn't really know that that was possible. And I didn't know it was possible because I didn't love myself. And so I set out to go on this journey of what would it look like to fully bet on me, meaning fully love myself, mind, body, and soul. And it was rough because, everything in me I wanted to be around people. I wanted to like, be with certain people, be in certain crowds, go to different things. And I just didn't realize that everything that I was doing was running away from all of the past trauma that was in my life. And I really wasn't healing and or grieving some of the things. So if you go back and listen to some of my videos from back then, you'll hear me talk about it. But I'll just give you like a high synopsis of not even understanding that at 40 years old, I had been touched at age 13 by my aunt, my then aunt's significant other. And I didn't realize that that was still running my life. And I was 40. So dealing with that, dealing with the trauma of being, a teen mom, and people don't think that's dramatic. It's like, oh, people be teen moms every day. Yeah, but I look at my kids like now that I'm a mom, and I look at my kids and I'm thinking to myself, like, how was I a mom at 17? I wasn't. I was a kid. And we live in a society where we want to hold these kids' feet to the fire for every little thing that they do. Oh, they're adults. They're grown at 18. That is a full flat out lie. And I said what I said, and I will not take that back ever. Okay, I have, all of my kids now are past the age of 18. My baby is actually 19, and I just think to myself, I couldn't imagine him being a dad. And so that and so I started off my story as I started off on welfare, so welfare team mom, had that. And then I also lost two sons. And so burying two sons, it was just a lot of things that had happened, just like I know many people you probably watching today have experienced. And you go through these things and you don't go through with it the proper steps to actually go through the grievance days, especially if, and I'm just gonna say for African American, we just told to get over it. You just got to get over it. It's like, what do you mean get over it? Life goes on. And I was raised, in the church too, and we were taught to give it to God, which is a great thing. And there's still healing steps within giving it to God. It's not just like I'm just gonna wake up in the morning and give God the fact that I'm grieving the loss of two sons and everything's just going to be okay. No, right? So even learning how to build a spiritual foundation, I didn't know how to do that. I just listened. I just went to church and listened to the pastors, and I realized, especially, and I don't know if, listen, there's a new Netflix documentary out, and it's called Dancing with the Devil, and I watched it, and the one thing that taught me is that I'm so grateful to have a mind of my own, meaning that even when you go to church and stuff like that, I have always realized that these are human beings. Yes, they have a calling. Some of them do, some of them, but these are human beings, and they can manipulate and use the word of God to try to control people. And what's interesting about that is that as a people, we have to start to understand it is our responsibility to form our own relationship with God. Read the Bible, if it's not Christianity, whatever you call your God, read for yourself. Come to know it for yourself. Build your own relationship. In that way, you can't be manipulated when people are telling you to cut off your families and give them all your money and just a whole bunch of crazy insane things that happen. And so I understand that church hurt is real too. But this is all a part of why I started my channel. It wasn't just about me. I wanted people to see me go through the growth stages. And I'm telling you, if you go back, you'll see me go through the growth stages of just picking up and just even starting making the videos. And that was a lot for me because I was like, man, I didn't even think I looked good. That's how bad it was back then. So you want to talk about self-love. I was like, oh man, I'm ugly. I was like, man, my nose, all of these things that I was feeling and thinking on the inside. And I utilized this channel as a way to grow, but also say, hey, come along this journey with me. And so now I'm in a complete different phase of life. Okay, completely different. And sometimes I go back and look and I'm like, what? I'm different. And how did I get there? Was I utilized the power of vision. And so, my journey is just a testament to how powerful and transformational using vision is. And so, I want to just tell you briefly, what vision stands for. So, first of all, the V is for visualizing your future. You have to set your vision. You have to get a clear, vivid. Let me tell you something. I really want you just like to sit with me and walk with me for a second. I was a teen mom on welfare. Okay. I had to see myself becoming something different, speaking different, moving different, getting around different people before that could happen. And so the first thing I did was I had to see myself different. And so for those of you who are watching this, either pause the video right now and or you can, do it after you watch it. But I just want you just to sit, close your eyes and see the man or the woman you desire to be. What do they look like? What do they walk like? How do they talk? Who is surrounding them? How do they feel when they get up in the morning? How do they feel when they go about their day? When they're going about their day, what are they surrounded by? What are they doing? What are some of the noises? I want you to use all of your senses. What do they put into their bodies? What do they eat? Do they feed themselves spiritually? Like, I need you to close your eyes and just see that person, see that life. Where are they living? What kind of house are they in? Right. And so when you start to do that, it's like, man, when you can just set aside 10 to 15 minutes to visualize who you desire to become, it will change the game. Because once you see a thing, I'm going to tell you something that I've always said. Once you see something, you can't just change it, right? That's why visualization is so powerful. That's why when I started to see myself, right, what is the next thing I did? I started to put myself in different environments. I got on planes. I started going to different conferences, and I went to these conferences and I got to see people who looked like me, who I didn't know could be millionaires. I started to look at them. I'm like, what? And these are people who started off just like me, getting it out the mud. They didn't come from money. These were just people who, had a dream and decided to go after it. And what the thing about a dream is, it starts with you seeing yourself in the dream. It doesn't just happen. And so you have to see yourself doing that thing, right? And let me just say this, okay? Whether it's entrepreneurial, whether it's the dream is you owning your own business, let me tell you, I'm just going to say something to you that I think that they lie to people about over and over again. They want to tell you, like, it's just easy. This, you can do this, and this. These 5 steps, right? Now, here's the truth of the matter: the 5 steps are easy. What does that mean? Creating the 5 steps. So, for example, if you want to be an entrepreneur, right? Creating the LLC is easy. Getting the website done is easy. Knowing that you desire to have a business, that's easy. Getting some content, especially now with ChatGPT, getting some content put up on your website, that's easy. All of that stuff is easy. What's not easy is the work. What's not easy is the work. Let me tell you something. I've been in this for a minute. It is the you have to put in work. I don't care who you go and work with, and if you decide that this is what you want to do, whether it's business, you want to start your own business, whether you want to, get promoted in the company that you are in. I will tell you this though. I've been in corporate America for 27 years. Getting promoted in my company was a lot more easier than owning my own business. I'm just gonna tell you. And the truth of the matter, if it was really that easy, the way some of these people make it seem, everybody would be doing it. Everybody's not doing it because it's not that easy. And here's the thing: just because it isn't easy doesn't mean that we don't get to step into it. It doesn't mean that you don't try. It doesn't mean that you don't get the help that you desire. No, it's just to let you know that you don't have to come in here and put in work. You got to put in work. And you can't be afraid of it. Because at the end of the day, what would life be if you don't try? And like real talk. And it's really not about trying, it's really about doing. And it's about, this is why I love visualization. And this is how I came to be a vision strategist coach, because it was just teaching people. It wasn't just about, once you see a thing and we set up attainable like goals, which I call them SMART goals. I'm telling you, you can do it. It's just going to take you some work. It's just not going to be as easy as I see it and I snap my fingers. So manifestation is what they love to call it. The manifestation comes as a result of all of your senses, calling it in and doing the work, doing the steps every single day to walk it out. When I became an author, I had to see myself. I had to see myself holding my book. Yes, how did it feel when I got that book in my hands? Who was going to be reading my book? All the things. What was the colors? What did the pages smell like? And that may seem extreme to you, but this is the process that got me to it. And then it was like, okay, well, I saw that, right? So now what are the steps that's going to help me to become an author? I am a writer. I am an author, right? What it was the steps that was going to help me to do that. So I had to create SMART goals, which are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant or realistic, and time bound. Okay. And so then I had to do something every single day to become. So eventually, did I become an author? Absolutely, I did. But it started with visualizing myself first. You have to sit and visualize it. And when you do your visualization, I want you to do it a couple of different ways. I want you to do it from a meditative state where you can see it in your mind's eye, see it like, I'm telling you, like, use all of your senses: touch, taste, what are you eating, feel, what does it feel like, right? Use all of your senses. And then I want you to do vision boards. I have a big vision board, which is like my 5 year, my big boy vision board. And then I also have a yearly vision board. Now, again, I do a lot of different communities. So I work with Tony Robbins. So we also have um, a digital vision board, which is also absolutely amazing to have, right? And so why are we doing it that way? Because you need to see it every single day. You need to visualize every single day. First thing in the morning, the first thing in the morning when I get up, I do a meditation and I actually see what my day is going to be like. What am I going to be doing? Now let me keep this real with y'all, right? Does it mean that all the time I hit the mark? Absolutely not. Sometimes I can visualize my day and these things are going to happen. And then I get on my job or I'm working in the business and something completely different happens. Listen, one thing for certain and two things for sure. When you come here, you're going to get the real because I do believe in being real and honest with people because I find sometimes people have unrealistic expectations when they step into things is because they're listening to people say how easy it is and not realizing that easy doesn't mean that not gonna have to put in work. You gotta put in work. But the first step in is the vision is visualizing your future. Now the I identify clear goals, which I started to talk about kind of jumped into it. So identifying clear goals is the SMART goals, right? But the goal should be aligning with the vision. And the one thing about the goals, should it like the vision should ignite you should feel excited. When I thought about becoming a speaker, becoming a coach, and writing my book, I was excited about that. Why? It wasn't because of what I was going to achieve, and I need you guys to hear this. It was because of what I knew it was going to do for someone else. When I come and sit and talk about my traumas, it's not to share; it's to let people know you can overcome. Yeah, the worst thing in the world for a parent, I believe, is to bury their children. Some people believe the worst thing in the world is to bury their parents. To me, to bury two sons, there was nothing worse than that. And I want to sit and tell other parents that are maybe experiencing that or have experienced that you can still become everything you desire to become. And you know what? Here's the thing that you can do with that because I do it all the time. When I speak, I never speak without bringing my sons along with me. So you'll hear me say Kenneth Allen McCoy or Sahad Monroe because that's their names. And I smile because I live for them now, right? It's like they never their names will always be spoken. They're in my book. So it's you can overcome with the power of vision. That's why I teach it. Overcoming with the power of vision. You can overcome with that, you know and so I utilized these very techniques that I come here and I talk to you about every single Sunday. The one thing you're not going to get from me is a person who speaks from theory. I don't believe in it. If I'm not doing it or have done it, I'm not going to tell you to do it. Okay. So that's the first thing. So vision. So for V, visualize your future. I identify clear goals. The S is for strategizing your actions. Let me tell you something about the people who love to talk about it, who ain't about it. Okay. Listen, you have to strategize for massive action. And people, listen, you have to set when you break down those goals, you gotta break it down to manageable action steps. What am I gonna do every single day, 30 minutes a day towards the vision? That's why I'm saying it's easy. It's simple to say that, right? And so, what am I going to do? So, let me give you an example of what I was talking about, right? So, for me wanting to become an author, that meant me sitting down and writing for a minimum of 30 minutes per day. Now, if I went longer, I went longer, but the minimum was 30 minutes a day. So that was the one thing. The other thing was getting a coach. It was a Lady Ty is her name, Lady Ty the Great, and she is absolutely phenomenal when it comes down to helping authors write books. I had to reach out to her to get help. And how did I meet her? Listen, this is why y'all gotta follow me on this. How did I meet her? When I visualized myself into the future, I saw myself meeting, great people. And when I started to go to conferences, these were the people that I started to connect with, and they helped me along the way of my journey. Not only just that, I went to a program called Next Level Trainings that helped me, filter through some of the grief from the trauma that was still in my life that I didn't even really know was there. This was all a part of me loving myself. Love yourself enough to heal yourself, mind, body, and soul. Love yourself enough to feed yourself the right things. Love yourself enough to put yourself in the right places with the right people. Love yourself enough to even do the research to do that, right? It wasn't like somebody came and handed these things to me. It was interesting that when I started opening myself up to more relationships, which truly more opportunities. When I started to open myself up to that, these people started to come into my life. These are the things you call in. So when we talk about manifestation and calling in, this is some of the steps and some of the work to that. And so meeting these people who had done these phenomenal things in life, and these people then started to help me on my journey. Some was paid and some wasn't. Like You can't be afraid to invest in yourself. You cannot be afraid to invest in yourself. The truth is, you have to invest into your next and not into your now. Most people are so afraid to invest in themselves. Like, listen, at the end of the day, you're not invested. I didn't ever consider what I did. And you will hear me say this over and over and over again. And the reason why I do this, because I want you to get it. It's like, I didn't invest in them. I invested in who I was becoming. People are so afraid. It's like my hard earned money. Yeah, okay. And you're investing into the next, in your next phase, the next level of your life. And that's how I saw it. And that's why I was able to take myself from welfare to winning. And I'm telling you that you can do the exact same things. It starts first with your mind. Your mindset is everything. So when I started to do the visualization, okay, so some of the steps in the goals was working on my mindset. I had to understand that there were some things that I had to unlearn. I had to unlearn. I had to like wipe the slate clean. I had to walk in and be a student. Be a student, not walk in wanting to do it my way. That's how it happens with so many people. Why we're not successful in the things we want to do is because we want to do everything our way. Here's the thing, there's two things to that. Some of the things that you are doing are absolutely great for where you are now. But when you want to go to your next, right? You can't, how you got to this space is not going to be how you get to the next space. And so I had to learn that. I had to learn that in the steps of, me going from, 322 a month to eventually, $500 above to eventually 1,000 a month to 5,000 to 10,000 and so forth, right? How do you get there? It's like, man, I had to like literally allow some of the old parts of myself that didn't trust people to die. And how did I get there? How did, because I hear like, well, what do you mean I had to die to myself? That literally meant I had to say, like, what is the reason why I don't trust people? This has come from somewhere. And what I had to dig deep and find out, I didn't trust women because I didn't trust my own parents. It started off with me not trusting them. Now, I'm going to tell you those relationships have grown and evolved since then. um, However, it was the truth. That's how it all started. When you don't trust your own mother, you ain't gonna trust other women. It's just the truth of the matter, right? And so I had to start to really look at that and say I was punishing other people that were trying to come in my life and build with me and grow with me. I was punishing them as a result of my past, which truly meant I was punishing myself. So this is why I wasn't getting to where I desired to be. It was like, oh man, and then that I built that tough exterior of knowing it all, because of lack of trust and because of fear of failure, right? Not wanting to fail in anything. And the funniest thing about that is all the things I didn't want to fail in, I failed in. But here's the thing, I fell forward. And what do you mean by fail forward? That means I don't really even look at it as failure. I look at it as learning. It's like, listen, I cannot fail if I continue to learn. Like, no, that's learning. So, and I'm gonna just take it a step further. When you think about how majority of you learned in school how to do math, you had to get the problem wrong more times than to get it right. That's learning. It's not failure. Okay. So that's what I mean by that. But this all started with, and I didn't even realize this is how fabulous God is. I didn't even realize at the time that it was vision. I'm not gonna pretend like to you like I knew, but this is what happened when you start the work. As you start the process, because what am I saying to you? Just start. Start from right where you are. Don't look at it like I got to get bigger and better, so I need to go gather a bunch of things. No, right where you are, start. This is what I'm saying, right? The hard part is starting. Okay, start right where you are with what you have. Okay, as you're doing the visualization, okay, you start to see yourself becoming these things. All right, this is what I want to become. I want to become, entrepreneur. I want to become a speaker. I want to become a VP in my company. I want to become a better parent. I want to become a better spouse. I want to become a spouse. Right? See yourself, whatever it is. Listen, it doesn't matter. It's nothing is neither too big or too small. And I really want to say it to people because some people get so caught up in money. Okay. And you can't get caught up in the fact. You can't get caught up in the tool. Money is a tool, and I understand it. Let's not get this twisted. I think that having it is important to do what it is that I want to do in life, which is, I want to build something to give back to teen moms. That's what it's all about for me. And so within developing the vision, it's like, why? Why this vision? Why do you want to become that? And you got to make that why so big that you can't quit. So even when it's not easy, build it so you won't quit. So all of this is encompassed in the vision. And I'm telling you, it is one of the most fulfilling things that I've ever done, is to set out to say that I'm going to write a book before my grandmother, because my grandmother's like 88 now, before my grandmother passes, so she could know that, the things that she prayed for actually came true. Her prayers saved me. That was my big why behind writing that book and actually getting it done. So why? So as you're doing the visualization and as you're using your senses, put your why in there. I also wanted to become a speaker. I also wanted to own my own business. I also wanted to create, I created my journal deck cards and so many things that, that I have created and even working on, because I wanted my children to know. I didn't want their role models to be the people that they saw on television. It was like, why can't it be me? I wanted them to know they could be, do I have. And here's the thing I want you to hear, parents. In the middle of you doing it, they may not see it. They absolutely may not see it. But it's not the point of that. The point is, for the time that they go through their shift just like we did, they'll look around and be like, all right, a book. Come on, like I need for my listen, I love everyone and I love everybody who comes to my channel. I don't care what color you are, but there is just sometimes when I want to talk to my people, my black and brown people, and say, how beautiful is it for your kids to wake up and know that they now can write books and they can own businesses, not because they watch everybody else do it, but because they watch you do it. And I think that's a fabulous thing, because there is power in proximity. Where they're closest to, they start to know that they become, and they're closest to you. And that's why it's so beautiful also to walk through a healing journey and to set out to learn to love yourself and create beautiful boundaries and, pass down healing instead of hurt in our generation. When they say hurt people, we pass down so much hurt through different generations. But here, now we have an opportunity to pass down healing. We have an opportunity to pass down love. We have an opportunity to pass down growth. We have an opportunity to pass down that they can, find all different sorts of modalities to create the tool of money in their life so they can have freedom, because that's what that tool brings, is freedom. Why most people go after money is for freedom. Now, some do go after power and fame, and we see where that lands most people, but that shouldn't be the reason why you should do it. I'm not here to tell anybody anything, but here's what I can promise you. When you start to build something that's bigger than you, and you build it because you know you're going to give back, and you know that people are going to be able to be transformed and healed, it brings about a fulfillment that I promise you, no amount of money or no amount of material item can bring you. Um, and I haven't reached the pinnacle of where I want to go yet. So I'm saying that as of today, okay? And here's the beauty of what I've learned on this journey of becoming. At least once or twice in your life, you're going to contradict yourself. And if you don't, that means you are not simply not growing. I said what I said, okay? At some point in your life, you're going to contradict yourself. And if you don't, that simply means that you're not growing. All right, so let's get into this. So we said the V is for visualizing your future, right? Using your five senses. The I, identify your clear goals, smart goals, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant or realistic, depending upon who you listen to, and time bound. If it doesn't have a time on it, you're not going to do it. If you just say, oh, I'm going to become an entrepreneur, and you don't have a date, if you don't put a date on the fact that I'm going to write the book by December 31st, 2024, it's not going to happen. You have to put a time on it. You have to put a time on it. Strategize for massive action. When you are strategizing for massive action, you have to keep the momentum going. I'm going to tell you right now, to keep the momentum going and ensure steady progress, you're going to need help along the way. So a part of that strategy for massive action is what who do I need? What tools do I need? What help do I need? What skill set do I need? Who, what, where, when, why, and how. Okay. So when you strategize, you have to know. You think you can do this on your own? I could promise you can't. Because if you could, you would. It's like that's like we're gonna be honest today. If you could, you would. We cannot do this thing alone. And so this is why I talk about, I tell people you have to invest in your next. So and invest in your next could look like you hiring a therapist, right? I had to hire a therapist to help me filter through my grief. So each step, why I was so angry, I fought a lot. Where did that anger stem from? Why was I mean and nasty to people? Because if we're gonna be honest today, I used to be so mean, but that was what I had to come to learn was that was just an exterior that I've grown to have around me to keep people out, although I wanted people in, which is absolutely insane when you think about it. But it was just the truth of the matter. Why I was so mean and how I was punishing people for things that had happened to me in my life, but also essentially what that meant was I was self-sabotaging and punishing myself. So for those of you who are out there and you're thinking that, oh, like I'm going to be mean to people, I treat people. Listen, all you're doing is sabotaging yourself. Is so true. All that you when you start to get on this road of becoming, you're gonna realize that you don't even want to hold that. Like man, I'm telling you, I live with such peace, right? And it's because it's like, man, I don't even want to hold that anymore. And so, walking through these steps with my clients too is just like giving them a sense of peace. Most people say they want peace, but they don't realize that it starts with you becoming peaceful. I'm gonna say it again. Most people want peace, but they don't realize it starts with you becoming peaceful. How do I become peaceful? It starts by loving yourself. It starts by saying, like, what is it? What are the things in me that I get to heal? Where have I hurt others? Because many people can write a list of who hurt me, and that's a very great thing to do. Because when you start to write that list of who hurt me, right, that starts with your forgiveness journey and healing. And forgiveness is not for them; it's for you. And you have to write, who have I hurt? And sometimes that forgiveness from them looks like, maybe y'all not having a conversation, but even a meditative prayer saying, please forgive me for what I've done to you. Like forgiveness goes, both ways, forgiveness and being forgiven. And sometimes people won't, because sometimes people won't, accept, and they get to, that's okay, and so let me say this too. The best apology is change behavior. Don't go in and asking for people for forgiveness, and if you're going to continue to do the same things over and over again, because that's just manipulation. I'm going to say that again. Don't go in asking for forgiveness and then continue to do the same thing over and over again. That's just manipulation. That's just manipulation. And most times people are manipulating themselves. So it's so interesting because people think everybody's like, it's this malice. People are just in now. No, I really do believe that people manipulate themselves into thinking and being a certain way. And they think that, their way of doing it is right. And this is why I said to you, I had to unlearn and kill off old parts of myself to open up to even be able to see this. Some people you can't even have this conversation with because they absolutely can't see where they've done anything wrong and they want to blame everybody else. It's so interesting that even in that documentary that I talked about in the beginning of Dancing with the Devil, the young girl went back to talk to her father, and she was like the way that she went off on her dad. And let me tell you something. Does that mean that the father, if he had been a better father, maybe she wouldn't have gone through what she went through? I absolutely got that. And, it's like what happened to you, and I say this a lot, what happened to you as a child is not your fault, but it's your responsibility to heal you. Like at some point, the parent just can't keep holding the blame and the shame anymore. At what point do you say, I take responsibility. I'm going to take control of my life. And I've said this over and over and again in videos. And because I realized the importance of that, that was the biggest step on the healing journey that transformed everything. The moment I said, you know what? I'm going to be in control. Who I allow to stay in my life, that's on me. That's on me now. Who I allow in my bubble, it's on me now. Who are the type of people that I want to be around? What do I want to be around? No one can manipulate me at this point. I have mind, body, soul, heart control. And you can have it too. But it starts with recognizing and saying no one can manipulate me. Once start to understand some things for myself. This is why I say, when I went up, because a part of strategizing for massive action, I'm still here, just so you know, I'm still here. So part of strategizing for massive action was mind, body, soul healing. And so that meant building a spiritual foundation. So how did I do that? I picked up the Bible because I still believe in Jesus Christ, and it's okay if you don't. I am not here to tell anybody what to believe in. I do, but I started to pick up that Bible and started to read it for myself. I wanted to understand what these scriptures meant. So that way, when I'm walking in and having a conversation with somebody, I can respectfully not agree if that's not my interpretation of it, and that's okay. I'm not here to. I don't want people to be child soldiers and believe everything I need to believe. I need people to hear that today, because you get on the internet and you're fighting with everybody to be right. Like, I don't need anybody to be a child soldier to believe what I believe. No, I just need to have my own ideals, thoughts, feelings, and emotion about myself. And so we're in a society right now where everybody's fighting to be right, and that's why people are right by themselves. There's people are so lonely and suffering from touch deprivation. COVID really put the nail in the coffin for some of this too. But and people don't even know how to come back together anymore. It's cancel this person, cancel that person. I was actually looking at something on social media yesterday, on TikTok, and it was a lady very upset. It was a makeup girl who does makeup, and she was talking about, I guess she had a Chanel bag or something like that. And she's like, oh, this is not the time for that. It's not the time for you to show your bag. It's not the time for you to flaunt your wealth. It's not the time for you. And I'm thinking in my head, this is exactly why people will remain broke, busted, and disgusted. I need y'all to hear me there. This is exactly why. Because when you see someone else, not everybody is freaking poor, and nor should they not be. And if you are, right, there's time. It's time for you to help bring yourself out of it and stop blaming the government and blaming this person and blaming that person. Like, real talk. Are you serious? Somebody can't say, and this is the problem with our society. People are so afraid to just say that they're happy. Like, why in the world do I have to walk around miserable because your life is not together? Because you haven't realized that you can take control over it. And here's the thing, I said in the beginning, it's not easy, but it's attainable. You can do it. You can do hard things. But no way, shape, or form said people have to shut down their lives because they're not feeling what you're feeling in the moment. And here's the truth of the matter. I can pick up right now, I can go upstairs and pick up a material item and talk about it. That doesn't mean that I'm not experiencing pain in my life. That doesn't mean that I'm not experiencing trauma in my life. You don't know what somebody else is going through. So it's not like, get out of here with that. Like, real talk. People need to get a grip on themselves. This is what I'm talking about. You're so miserable and upset with your life. You're gonna walk in there and tell somebody else what they should and shouldn't talk about or show in this particular point in time because other people are suffering. Newsflash, there's people who are gonna always suffer. And you don't have to be one of those people if you decide that you're gonna take control of your life today. And let me tell you something. I say that now from sitting in the point of having one job and owning the business. But let me tell you why I can say it to you. Because remember how I started this off? I started this off as a welfare teen mom. You know what I did? I worked 2 and 3 jobs. I grinded. There was a point in my life where I had to work 2 full-time jobs. I worked my corporate America job in the morning. I worked at Sam Adams Beer Company full time at night, and I still taught fitness in the gym. Don't tell me you can't do it. And you know why I'm able, and I believe this is a part of it, how I'm able to sit over here is because when I was going through that, I didn't sit across the screen and look at somebody and say, oh, you shouldn't sell your life. You shouldn't do this. Like, are you crazy? I was like, that's motivation. That's motivation. That's motivation. Like, cool. That lets me know I can do it too. Like, what? No, show me. Like, I don't understand this. And if you want to stay broke, busted, and disgusted, keep doing that. I'm gonna tell you right now. If you want to stay broke, busted, and disgusted, keep going on social media with your $1,000 iPhone. Kill me with your $1,000 iPhone and tell them that they shouldn't show their material items and they shouldn't show their life and they shouldn't be, do, or have, and they shouldn't show the things that they've worked hard for. Like, are you kidding me? That will keep you broke, busted, and disgusted. The very judgments that you place upon people. Because here's the thing, when you are working on your healing journey, when you're working on yourself and you're working to grow and have better, be better, do better, the last thing you will do is have time to be on social media judging their life because you'll be too busy being in yours. Follow me? So this is all a part of that strategizing for massive action. Turn off the people's lives and get into yours. You can do this. 1000% you can do it. But you have to take full, complete ownership. And I know that sounds hard. It's like, what do you mean take complete ownership? Well, I listen, it wasn't my fault that my aunt's husband touched me at 13 years old. I wasn't even thinking about sex at that time. Wasn't my fault. But it's my responsibility as a 40 plus year old woman to ensure that I'm healed, to ensure that I don't pass that trauma down and that hurt down to other men that come into my life. That's what I mean. And do I cry? Yes. Is it painful? Yes. Did I have to have a therapist? Yes. Did I always have the immediate means? No. I figured it out. I invested in my next. I knew that wasn't where I wanted to stay. So I did the hard thing, which was say, I'm gonna start and then doing it. So that's how you strategize for massive action. Okay. And so next, the I vision. So we said visualize your future. V, identify clear goals, strategize for massive action, implement daily steps, doing the small things every single day. Okay. So what does that look like? Well, I'll visualize myself wanting to release 50 pounds, maybe the wellness journey, because wellness is something that's huge, right? People on this wellness journey. So that means I'm going to work out for a minimum of 10 minutes every single morning between 6 and 6:30 every single day. This is what I'm going to do. I want to write a book. I'm going to write for a minimum of 30 minutes every single day. And I'm going to write, between the hours of 6:30 and 7. Or if you're a mom, you're going to wait till the kids go to sleep. And after the kids go to sleep, you're going to write. Or if you're a mom, you're going to at night put everything together for the children in the morning, down to their underwear and their socks and their lunches at night. Pack everything in the refrigerator at night. Why am I telling you this? I have 6 kids, 3 girls, 3 boys. I live this life. Okay. Pack everything at night, including your stuff, down to your underwear. Have your workout clothes laid out as well as your work clothes, everything laid out for them. So you can get up in the morning 30 minutes earlier so you can do that 10-minute workout, then get into the shower. And then as you're getting the kids up, you're not stressed and running around because you know that everything is already laid out for them. All they got to do, if you have to get them dressed, all you have to do is start, like, listen, everything's laid out, right? As you're getting ready to leave out, grab your bag. I'm going to also tell you the other thing is for me to strategize for Max to implement small steps every daily. A part of that was even the stuff when I used to have to drive into work. I've been working from home now for about 14 years. But when I used to have to go into work, I would even have my work bag sitting at the door. I didn't have to get up in the morning and think about anything. Everything was ready to go. No, I had no thoughts. So at night, when I put them down, if I realized that I'm a morning person, so if I wanted to write in the morning or if I wanted to work out in the morning, I set everything at night to do that. So it's like essentially, and I'm going to give you a hack. I'm going to give you a life hack. Okay. So to help you implement small daily steps, do this on a Sunday. Okay. Sunday, put out, check the weather. They give you the 7-day weather. Put out your clothes for the entire week. Down, I'm talking down to the underwear and your socks. Every single day, have all their outfits aligned for the week. I promise you, it's a game changer. It will change your life down to the underwear because we suffer from decision fatigue, right? And so the reason why most people don't implement their small daily steps is because they're not together. They get up in the morning, it's like, oh, what clothes am I going to put on to work out, right? You got to remove all of that stuff. You have to remove all of that, right? So that's how you do it. Okay. So, and then every single day you get up, all you got to do is throw in your clothes. Listen, another hack for you: sleep in your workout bra. Like, sleep in your workout bra. Like, I did that. I didn't sleep in the bottom half, but I was sleeping in my workout bra. And so what I got, but that was one less thing. Okay. And I worked out at home. So but you also can set it up to where you're working at the gym. What do? Put your gym bag together at night. Have everything ready so it's set by the door. I used to go into the gym too. I used to take bar 3, it's the 6 a.m. class. Okay. And then there was a time when I took 5 a.m. spin. I was able to do that because I knew I had everything laid out, everything put together. So even when I had to came back in the house to get the kids up and ready for school, guess what? Everything was already laid out. I didn't have to worry about it. Like, and you can do grab and go breakfasts. Not all the time. My kids wasn't getting no hot breakfast. I don't know about them parents. Like, listen, I ain't gonna lie, right? And they did, if they wanted hot breakfast, I gave them money so they can get it in school. But for the most part, it was like, no, if you was at home, it was grab and go, and that's okay, and that's okay. All right. So implement small daily steps. Oh, envision, overcome obstacles. Listen, you got to anticipate the challenges and be prepared to address them. You got to stay flexible and adjust your plans because here's the thing: life is going to life. Yep, absolutely. Life is going to life. And let me just tell you how much life is going to life for you. Okay, I had never imagined when I set out to start my fitness journey. Because so what happened was I decided to become a fitness instructor. So for those of you who haven't been around for a while, I decided that I taught fitness for 10 years. And I went to go get my fitness certification December 4th, 2010. I went to go be a Zumba instructor. I drove to Maryland. I went to my girlfriend's house. And because listen, I fell in love. I fell in love. I worked out and I just fell in love with Zumba. And so I never imagined on December 4th, 2010, when I was getting ready to start, and I just wanted to help women transform their bodies. And I never imagined that on December 11th, my son would be murdered. Never imagined that. But that's what life will do to you. And the negative entities that exist among this world will have you believe that, when your children leave this earth, that part of you should leave this earth too. And it will have you believing that, you should just give up. It will have you believe that you should give in to all the grief and the sadness and the depression that sets in. And I'm here to tell you that you don't have to do that. I'm here to tell you that, grieve, go through your process of whatever it is, whether you've lost a child, a spouse, a parent. I'm here to tell you, you have to go through your process. And I'm here to tell you that you can overcome with the power of vision. Start to see yourself doing things again. Start to see yourself loving again. And here's what helped me. I can only tell you what helped me. My sons come with me everywhere I go. I smile even harder now because they're not here. See, the one thing about the negative entity, you call it the devil, call it whatever you want, it will have you believe that you'll never smile again. You'll never laugh again. Your family won't ever overcome. And I'm here to tell you that it's just not the truth. And here's the one thing that I said: I was like, you will not take my entire family. You will not take me. And I meant that. And I meant that. So when I'm coming to you and I'm speaking to you, is to let you know that there's things that are gonna have some things you can you know you can anticipate. Some things you can absolutely can anticipate. You can anticipate like maybe a car breaking down, and so like, all right, well, let me make sure I have some money in savings. Let me start to cut back on certain things or figure out how I can earn more money or whatever. So to anticipate things. If you own a home, anticipate things happen in your life because as long as you own a home, something's gonna happen, right? As long as you own a car, something's gonna happen. So you can anticipate those things. You can't anticipate death. You just can't. And so when those things happen, it's like, okay, but you have to know that you can overcome. And so I'm going to talk about a big thing and what happens to people with vision. But overcoming obstacles, I'm talking about resilience. And so you may need to get help with that, right? So one of the things, how did I strategize for massive action, right? To help me overcome the obstacles? Therapy. How did I strategize for massive action to overcome obstacles with my business? And I just even did it again, which is a hire coach. I just joined a new community. Listen, if you've been rocking with me for a minute, you'll hear I've spent, I can even tell you, hundreds of thousands of dollars at this point, just on my personal and professional development. Like that's how important this is to me. Okay, so that's another way I strategize for massive action. All right, and to help me overcome the obstacles. Again, some things we can't anticipate. Life be life, in y'all. Life is always gonna life. And as long as you do not give up, give in, and shut down and shut out the rest of the world, you absolutely can overcome one step at a time, one step at a time, small daily actions utilizing the power of vision and gratitude. Stay grateful. Stay grateful. Okay. And so the last is navigate accountability. Let me tell you something. You got to be accountable to somebody. First and foremost, you got to be committed to your growth. You got to schedule regular check-ins to review your progress and make necessary adjustments. This is why coaches are so important. And I get it. Nowadays people don't even want to be called a coach anymore. It's like, oh, it's so oversaturated. Everybody is calling themselves a coach. I'm not telling you that you shouldn't do your due diligence. I had to do my due diligence in the coaches that I hired as well. I'm just telling you that they are an important, integral part of success. Absolutely, you get the right coach, promise you going next level, straight up. And one that masters accountability, it's a game changer. I'm just telling you. I was an accountability coach in Eric Thomas, and that's ET, the hip hop preacher. For those of you who don't know who he is, he has a Secret to Success podcast. I was accountability coach in his organization for what, 2.5, almost 3 years, and it makes a difference when you show up somewhere every single day and you have to be accountable for your action steps. You have to be accountable for your goals that you set out, and you have to like speak it every single day and say what you're doing and say what you haven't done, and then account for why you didn't do it. It makes a difference. That's when you really start to see where people is like, okay, you don't understand that the reason why you haven't achieved your goals has nothing to do with anybody else except for the fact that you don't want to be held accountable. You don't want to work on something every day, and you don't want to show up. You don't want to show up for yourself. You want this magic microwave thing. You want to say, oh, I want something, and I'm just going to snap my fingers and it's going to come. No, baby, no. You got to put in this work. And anyone who has gotten to a particular level in their life who it hasn't been handed to them, guess how they got there? They had to put in work. You're gonna have to do it too. So vision is so powerful. What did I say? Vision is visualize your future. All right, set your vision using your five senses. Five senses. Identify clear goals. We talked about SMART goals. Strategize for massive action. What does that look like for you? Who, what, where, when, why, and how? Implement small daily steps. If you're not doing it every day, you're not going to get there. But if you're doing it every day, even when it feels like you're not getting there, I promise you, you're going to look up one day and you're going to like, man, I did it. You're going to look up one day and be like, oh man, I wrote the book. You're going to look up one day and say, oh my God, I'm speaking on stages. You're going to look up one day and say, oh my God, my business is successful. You're going to look at one day and say, oh my God, I have the promotion. I'm now a second level manager. I'm a VP in my company. You're going to look up and it's going to happen, but it's going to be the small things that you do every day. You're going to look up one day and say, oh my God, I am healthy now. Like my body feels great. My mind feels great. I have peace in my life. I feel healed. I'm whole. I'm loving people. They're loving me. That's the small daily steps every single day, right? Overcoming obstacles, being resilient. Don't let anybody knock you down. And I'm gonna give you a Les Brown quote. He said, if you're gonna be knocked down, fall out on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. I'm paraphrasing. It wasn't exactly the way he said it, but it's the truth. If you can look up, you can get up. When you look up, who do you look up to? Build that foundation, that spiritual foundation, or whatever it is. I'm not here to tell you who, what, where, why, how when it comes to it, but build one. Build it for yourself, because you're going to need it to help you overcome obstacles. Faith and belief, you're going to need it, okay? And navigate accountability. You don't have an accountability in your life, and you don't know how to adjust and pivot, it's going to be super super hard on yourself. You cannot do it alone. I know you want to. I know you don't want to trust anybody. I know you think everybody is just going to take your money, because you don't realize that you're not giving away your money. You're investing into your next level of yourself. I understand that. That's how my mind was in the beginning. And I'm going to tell you, to tell anybody who desires, if you desire to want to be a coach, I'm going to tell you right now, you have to become the client you want to attract. So if you're going into different spaces and places, you're not trustworthy, you're not doing the work, you have ass in it, I have to say it, and you're not putting your best foot forward, those are the kind of clients you're going to attract. If you don't want to invest in your next, if you don't want to pay a certain amount, guess what's going to happen? You're going to attract those same type of clients to you. I promise you that. That's exactly how I work. It's like, what? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So become the client you want to attract. But here's the number one reason why people don't achieve their vision and their goals: they don't believe. The number one reason why people don't achieve is they do not believe. They don't have any belief. And I know you want to say it's everything else. This is why you blame and shame everybody else. This is why you don't show up for yourself. This is why you always start something and quit. This is why you got a million ideas to do a million things and don't do any of them. It's because you don't believe. You don't believe because deep down inside there is a fear. Number one reason why you have not achieved the things you want to achieve is because you don't believe. The reason why you have a million ideas and you think you can do a million things and you're always looking at everything but not finishing anything is because you don't believe. The reason why you blame, shame, and kick everybody else because you don't have the things you want to have is because you don't believe. When you start to develop a belief in yourself, when you start to develop a love of yourself, when you start to work on your healing journey, when you start to visualize yourself being, doing, having something completely different, when you begin to walk that thing out every single day, the one thing I know that I will never hear from you is you complaining, blaming, and shaming, is you out here pointing your finger at everybody else, telling them how they shouldn't show the life that they worked their behinds off to have. You won't find yourself doing that. You know what you'll find yourself doing? Loving, learning, being, intentionally growing, loving, and seeking and opening and manifesting all the possibilities and looking at all the possibilities of life. The first step, believe in you. Second step, start to visualize yourself. Third step, implement everything I said in this video. Now, it may sound like I said to you, it's easy to do some of these things. The hardest part is going to be your belief and your actions and you working on yourself so you can open yourself up to someone helping you along your journey. And when I say someone help you along your journey, if you get somebody who's in the same place as you, all you're gonna do is allow yourself a bunch of excuses. Find someone that's where you are, where you desire to be, where you desire to be, and start to work with them. Develop a relationship with them. If you want to look in a hire coach, info@mosass.com. You can email me. www.mosass.com is my website. Start to ask questions. Ask questions. Questions are the answer. Sit down with somebody, talk to somebody. Notice no one can manipulate you out of your money. No one can manipulate you. Okay? Say it yourself. No one can manipulate me. No one can manipulate me. I'm going to ask the right questions. I'm going to get into the right rooms. I'm going to hire the therapist I need to hire. I'm going to work with the coach that I need to work with. I'm going to join the community that I need to be a part of. I can do it. I'm worthy. I am deserving. My past does not define my present. My present can shift so that my future can be brighter and bigger and better. And I love you and thank you so much for listening. Have the most amazing Sunday and I'll talk to you next week.